right, well, excited to get back to practice. We took a couple days off this weekend. I think having played 7 straight games, we needed to do that. Certainly, we got a big challenge on Thursday night. Clemson's a tough place to play, and they've got a lot of explosive athletes and a very good team, as evidenced by their ranking and their record. So, we look at it as an opportunity to go in there and measure ourselves against the top 10 team on the road and see if we've made the progress we feel like that we've made in the last few weeks. So, with that, I guess we'll throw it open to some questions.
Coach, you mentioned last week that Ray Bina was back at practice, and you were going to see if he was going to make it through the week. Did he make it through the week, and if so, will he be a backup this week?
Yeah, well, he's made it through practice so far, so I would think that he's going to be available for the game. Right now, he's in a backup role, but I would think he would play some. Yeah.
Jamia Thomas, would you say he's playing the best that he's played in his career right now?
Well, I think he's playing very well, but he's been a really good football player here for a while, and he's done a lot of things. He's played a couple different positions, and certainly he's playing really good right now.
You mentioned before that he could play almost anywhere. Is he better at either safety or corner? Is one of those maybe more of a home for him, you think?
I think he's good at both. He's way more involved in the run game, clearly playing safety because he sometimes comes down in the box. But, he could be a pretty good corner, too. He's a pretty good cover guy as well.
Coach, you got another good back this week in McDowell. What do you see from him?
Well, he's got good balance. I think that, he's ideal for what they do. He gives them a punch. They've had good backs. Ellington was a tremendous back that played there before. So, he's a huge weapon in all the zone stuff that they run.
You mentioned some areas in which you feel like you've improved, in particular, in what ways and what might those areas be?
Well, I think in the last 2 or 3 games we've done much better getting pressure on the passer. That's one thing. I feel like we've got better at blocking on the perimeter. Certainly that's going to be a big deal this week. I would like to think that we're better with the mechanics of the option, although at times it doesn't seem like it. But from what I've seen in practice, I know we're better at it. So those would be 3 pretty big things right there.
Paul, when it comes to those areas of improvement recently, how much of that is players just picking up their play and how much of it is them learning what's expected of them, particularly on the defensive side in a first-year system and so forth and so on? Or is it all the above?
That's probably all the above. I mean, I think sometimes we make too much out of the first-year system or this system or that system. I mean, basically what we're doing defensively, we did the last 6 games of last year anyway. So I think that clearly the terminology and communication with each other playing probably helps some, but it's not like we're doing a whole lot of different things than we did a year ago. I think that it might be a wee bit simpler, and they've played a lot more. You've got several guys on defense that have played a lot of snaps now. When when you got 6 or 7 seniors, those guys have all been playing for 3 or 4 years.
Defensively, Beasley's the one guy that gets a lot of pub. Who else do you see that's caught your eye on their defense?
Well, I think that the inside guys are the guys for us. Number 50, the kid from Rockdale County here in Georgia, I think it's Jarrett is his name. He's a load. He's one of their captains. Anthony, the linebacker's gotten better. The other defensive end, in my mind, the Crawford kid, is a really good player. I think, Beasley's a good player, but he's a pass rusher guy, and that's why he probably gets more notoriety because that's kind of when you play against those teams, it becomes a bigger deal. I don't know if he's a squeeze and scrape guy or whatever that they'll have to do against us. So we'll see how he plays.
To go back to Jamia, I remember when you played North Carolina in the second half, you put him on Ebron, and that seemed to change things. Is there a possibility to do something similar with him and Sammy Watkins, or is it?
There's always a possibility. I mean, you don't want to change what you do just by game. I think that's the biggest misnomer out there is by each game, well, we're going to change and do this and we'll match it. More than often, or you're better off dancing with the one that brung you. I mean, you're better off doing what you do. I've said, for years, that's why I think if you flip it on offense, I love to play teams who get away from what they do defensively and try to put something new in each week. Because my philosophy on that's always been if they're going to be better in 1 week than you are in 19 of running it, they were going to beat you no matter what they did. And I think it's the same way defensively. What you want to do is try to contain them, but you don't want to do something that you haven't done and try to come in and reinvent the wheel. I mean, we've played pretty good defense the last 3 games. We need to go in and play our system with a few wrinkles and see what happens.
You have 2 young kids in Braun and Roberts that have gotten a couple games under their belt now. What are you seeing from their progress?
I've been really pleased with both those guys. I think they play hard. Chase has been a pleasant surprise because as a redshirt freshman, we weren't sure that he was ready to play. But when he got thrust out there, he's played as well as anybody. And Trey Braun's a fighter. I mean, he kind of slugs away, and he's played through some injuries, and he's a pretty tough kid. So I'm proud of both of them.
Coach, knowing that Georgia played Clemson earlier this year and hung tight, would you ever consider consulting in-state rival staff to get any outside perspective?
Yeah, I may call them up today and see what they say. No, no, I don't think that we're going to get any help from Georgia, and I don't think they would expect any help from us. So, no.
Indeed, it is an entirely different approach to the run game. But do you even look at Clemson's defense against Georgia's run game to see anything?
We watch Clemson against everybody. We trade all the film, so we've seen every game they've played. There's not much correlation between the way Georgia runs the ball and the way we run the ball. There's a lot better teams to look at.
Mike Stiak was saying the other day that he thought that Jay Finch was coming along playing pretty well. I'm curious what you've seen out of him maybe in the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, I think that he's, Jay's another guy who's fought through some injuries and stayed out there and played tough. And Jay's a really good athlete. And, so he's done some good things.
Given just how good a team Clemson has been, you've obviously had some success against them. I mean, I'm curious if you feel like you just match up well with them, or things have gone your way at different times, or is there when you look at your series with them as a whole?
Well, we've played them. I mean, they're our cross rival in the thing, so we've played them every year. So, it's a game that they're a couple hours up the road. They recruit a lot in Georgia. It's just been it's been good games. I mean, even last year up there, I don't think the score was indicative of the game. It got away late, but that game was, we're up 1 in the fourth quarter with the ball on their 12-yard line on 4th and 1 and fumble the snap. So, they've been good games. Now, this may be the best team they've had since I've been here.
In what ways, Coach? I mean, the things that stand out to the average person in the stands are Boyd, Watkins, and so on. But in other areas, what do you see?
Well, I think that clearly having the quarterback that's a senior, he's more experienced. They've got good skill. They've been good offensively. This might be their best defensive team since I've been here, just personnel wise and athletically and that type of thing. They've had some good individual players, but as a whole, this might be their best defensive team since I've been here.
Could you say what the identity of this team is now after?
The identity of which team?
Your team, I'm sorry.
I think we're a team that's fairly physical. We run the ball pretty good, and we play the run pretty good. You know, we've been in every game we've played. I think if we don't turn the ball over and commit a lot of penalties, then we're pretty tough out. You know, will we win every game? I don't know. That's why you play, but. I think when we do the things that we do well and take care of the ball, it can be a tough out.